Hey everyone, Never1212 here talking about what I think will be a very excellent addition to the Legend of Zelda series. I am, of course, talking about Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land 3, The Quest for More Rupees. Oh wait, no, that would be awful. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Just want to get this out there real quick. I am really excited for this game. Like, I wish I had a time machine. Or wish I could freeze myself, but then I'd lose my job. Then I wouldn't have enough money to buy the game. So I just have to wait. If you're like me, then you've probably seen all the footage I'm going to show you in this video. If you're not like me, then, well, look at this new game I found. Being that the game was originally announced in 2013, a lot of fans have been eagerly waiting for it. With an original release date of 2015, I can say that I'm not just a little bit disappointed that it's not going to be released until next year. But, looking at what I've seen, like always, I can wait for Zelda, and I'll wait even longer for a great Zelda game. Now with this new Zelda game, there seems to be two conflicting schools of thought. Whether or not it's a new, innovative type of gameplay, or if it's a return to form for the Legend of Zelda series. Now, for this game to be completely new, it would of course have to not be a Zelda game. The fact that it is a Zelda game means that it's part of a series. That's not bad. People seem to think that when something isn't new, it's not good. A lot of people like when things are similar. Now, I don't want carbon copies, which is why I'm disappointed that within the last few years, 4 games have been re-released with minor variations. Now, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy these games. I really have. I've played through all of them multiple times already. But it's not a new game. That's why I'm so excited about Breath of the Wild. It feels so new, but at the same time, very familiar. But back to that whole thing, is it innovative or is it return to form? Well, let's weigh the differences. The real big new thing about this game is the open world, or open air as Nintendo is calling it, approach to gameplay. I'm sure you all know this, but that means that you have a lot of freedom in how you choose to play the game. Now, this is opposed to the more linear style of most Zelda games. And I do mean most. There aren't many games that allow you to do things in whatever order you please, but I can list a few. In the original Legend of Zelda, you can basically play the dungeons in whatever order you choose, apart from a few that require certain items to get there. And of course, the final dungeon, which requires you to have all 8 pieces of the Triforce to enter. But, saying that, the designers of the game did intend you to beat the levels in a certain order. That's why they're numbered, and that's why they increase in difficulty as the number goes up. It doesn't make sense for all dungeons to be accessible right from the get-go when dungeon level 7 is going to be much harder than dungeon level 2. People will want to start from the beginning and work their way up, unless you're one of those guys who go through the entire game without picking up the sword. Also, in A Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo, there are certain levels that you can access before it's intended, or at least you can access levels out of order. In fact, whenever I play A Link to the Past, I always defeat level 4 in the Dark World before I defeat level 3. Now, that's probably because level 4 is easier to access than level 3. It just is right there, and I always go for it first. And this might seem weird too, but whenever I play Ocarina of Time, I do the Spirit Temple before the Shadow Temple. Now, that's the order I see them in. It makes more sense to do Spirit Temple first and then Shadow Temple, because that's the way they're shown on the clock face of the medallions. I always go in a clockwise direction. I don't care what she tells you. But it seems that there are a lot of people who like to do the Shadow Temple before the Spirit Temple, which just really confuses me. But I'm sure it confuses them when I say I do the Spirit Temple first. But even though you have the choice to play these items in an order that might not be the way everyone does it, doesn't mean that these games are open world. They just means that there's a little bit of choice in how you do things. That's like saying, well, you could beat any temple in Ocarina of Time in whatever order you like, at least when you're an adult, as long as you have the item from the previous temple. And I know you can do this in Majora's Mask because I done it. You can get the items you need from one temple, leave it, and go beat the next temple. And you can do that with all the temples. You don't need to beat them to play the next one. But they're still linear games. Breath of the Wild promises that you don't need to follow a certain set of rules. Perhaps they mean there won't be a clear direction to which way you're supposed to go, and you'll just have to figure it out for yourself. One of the only other games I can really say is like that is A Link Between Worlds on the 3DS. In that game, you can choose to play the dungeons in pretty much whatever order you want. Of course, that game has a different system of getting items with the whole Ravio shop thing. By the way, A Link Between Worlds, very good game. Very good. I'll talk about it someday, probably. But here's the question. Is Breath of the Wild new? Or is it not so new? Well, honestly, I think it's gonna feel pretty goddamn new to me.